What's going on? It's your boy Trey, and welcome to When Can I Talk? So, yes, you see the title. It is all true. Let's get into the story. So, while I was in college, I was living in a dorm room, right? There was a dorm, I think it was called T3 Tyler, something like that. And this dorm had a sister dorm, right? And this sister dorm was made up of certain girls. And that is where I meet this one. And we're going to call her Bread. But I'm not going to call her Spaghetti because it won't make sense when I say spaghetti smelled like spaghetti. You know, it's not work. So we're just going to call her Bread. Now, let me say this, right? This was one of 3 girls that I pursued in this college. I did pursue another girl outside of this college. And y'all know how that story ends. So, well, no, you don't. We'll tell that story. That is a story that really sparked the whole YouTube and everything that you see now. Even though you're not seeing the beginnings of my YouTube journey, you're seeing it coming together. I've had a YouTube channel before this. So you'll, just know that. Okay. So anyway, I meet this girl at one of the functions that we had with our sister dorm. All right. We meet. We're having a good time. Life is good. But one day, she comes to what we call the commuter lounge. And the commuter lounge is for people who live in the city, but they travel, in to go to college, right? They don't live at the actual college, they commute. So I'm chilling in the commuter lounge, and for some reason, Bread comes in there. I don't remember if I invited her. I don't think at this point that I have even expressed that I have any, what they used to call, feelings for each other. It's so goofy. It's so goofy to think about that now. Just like, you have feelings for her? It's just like, what? I'm grown, bro. Just say what I like to be with her. Like, what I like to pursue a marriage with this woman. I mean, that just sounds more like, makes sense. Because just saying, do you have feelings for her? I mean, yeah. What kind of feelings are you asking about, though? I could have a lot of feelings towards a lot of people. So, I hadn't expressed to her that I was I wanted to pursue her. So, she comes in there. And this is the first time I've been around her by myself. Like, just me. I noticed when she sat down. She starts talking. And it's fine. It's all good. But when she moves just a little, you get a whiff. And I know what you're thinking. You think you're going to get a whiff of perfume. Maybe some spices. With a little bit of a sweet taste. Almost like you can taste it in your mouth. Like a cinnamon spice candy. That's not what I got, though. What I got was noodles. Marinated in some tomato sauce that you made from scratch with a little bit of parsley in there. Maybe some oregano leaves. And then you get a pan and you warm it up and you cook some meat in it. And you throw in some spices, right? You throw in some spices and you get it all good. You get it that brown. Not too far brown, not black. Okay? Not red. Right when it starts to brown and you start to smell the spices in the recipe from your grandma's mamish. And you're smelling the spices. And then you chunk in the noodles. The noodles that have been stripped of the wheat that was within them. And now they're white because they've been processed. And then you put it all together with a side of garlic bread from your Aunt Maliko. That's what I smelled. I smelled a plate of spaghetti. Okay? She smelled like spaghetti, plain and simple. Now the average person may walk away and be like, this person's musty. Listen. You hear how I explained the spaghetti? I didn't say she smelled like spaghetti that's been in her fridge for 3 days. Right? And you just threw it together with some sauce from the Dollar General. That's not what I said. I said she smelled like spaghetti from my grandma's mamish. It was a good smelling spaghetti. What? Right, you thought I was gonna say that she smelled musty. No, she smelled like spaghetti. She smelled like food. But it smelled alluring to me. However, if she was around and about, like running outside, let's say we're having events, because we used to have events like we would play soccer, football, flag football, we go to do runs. So sometimes we'd be sweating together as a group. When she sweat, then that spaghetti then started to smell like it was from the fridge from 3 days ago. That you just got some sauce from the Dollar General. Okay, and you got the spaghetti. It wasn't scratch. You didn't pull the weed out. You didn't process it. It's just regular old everyday dollar spaghetti you can get at your Dollar General, Family Dollar, or your Dollar Tree, or your dollar store. So, that was the nasty stuff about her. But even though she smelled like spaghetti, I got used to it, right? Even when she smelled like 3-day-old, if she either smelled like 3-day-old spaghetti or she smelled like my grandmother's. So I started to get to know this girl. She was pretty cool. She wasn't one of those girls where you felt like you couldn't talk to because y'all are both in college and she thinks that she's more powerful than you because you're in college, or that you can't keep up with her intellectually. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So we were talking about, so Brad had a great smell of spaghetti that I got used to after some time. And she wasn't one of those women that, you know, would talk like, okay, though we're both in college, you feel like you got more intellect than me, you know? Even though at this time, and I'm not bragging or anything, but at this time, okay, so this is like, by the time I know she smelled like spaghetti and all that, I was in a certain dorm, which she was my sister dorm, but then I ended up going into honors college. So I moved into another dorm at the honors college. So it's not like, you know, it's not like we're not both, she's not in honors college, I am. So it's not like, a lot of these women, it's like, even though I was in honors college and I was doing well with a 3.97 GPA, they still talk to me like I was an idiot. And so that's what a lot of girls did, just because I wasn't rich, or maybe because I wasn't tall, or maybe because I wasn't so athletic. It's like they saw me as a Dumbo. And it's like, how can I be a Dumbo if my grades are better than yours, will ever even think about being, you know? And so that's when I realized at that point in my time in my life, it's just like, you know what? All this is when my pride was really high, but all this, I'm in honors college and I got a high GPA, all that shit started to go away. I thought, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm cool with who I'm cool with who I'm not with. I'm not about to sit here every goddamn day and try to prove who I am to people. So anyway, at this time though, I'm still in that mindset. I'm still very prideful about it. So anyway, she's one of the women who I didn't feel like I had to do all that with and had to be extra with and be kind of stick my chest out. I felt like I could just be more myself and I could just talk normally. I didn't feel like I had to keep throwing out my accolades and let's talk about school to prove that I'm on your level. So we move on. We go on about life. Now, the issue that ends up happening here is eventually I do express that I did want to pursue her and just to see what was the other side. And just like the other 3 women that I pursued after this, it ended. She said no, she didn't want to do it. She actually likes my friend who doesn't like her at all. At all. Isn't that how it goes? It's just funny because now you think about this silly high school stuff and this silly college stuff where that's funny because I'm really in college doing the same thing as I did in high school. I like a girl who likes my friend who doesn't like her at all. He actually is pursuing a completely another girl and he actually ended up marrying that girl. And so she never ended up with him. So my point is this is what I'll never understand. He had already told her that he didn't like her, but yet she still wanted to pursue him. And even though she told me that she don't like me because she likes him, that I didn't understand. It's like, why would I could understand me where I'm coming from, but I don't like another girl or something. I'm only liking you. I'm only pursuing you, but you want to pursue a guy who said he's never going to pursue you and give up. And the reason you won't let me pursue you is because you're pursuing a guy who said don't pursue me, who ends up marrying another woman anyway. That's what I don't understand. It's like you wasted all that time. She ended up wasting all that time going after somebody she was never going to get because she felt like, this is the funny thing with these things these days. She was in that same mindset, and I'm not knocking faith or anything, but I'm saying it was one of those mindsets of, well, God's just going to bring me him. God's going to give him to me because I love him. Even though God could be telling him something different, just because you want him so bad, you're going to manipulate it. And what is it called? Faith manipulation, where you're going to use God as a tactic to be like, but I know God wants us to be together. If you're not going to be with me, kind of that kind of stuff. And so he wasn't having it. So he ended up marrying another woman eventually. But that was years down the road. But nonetheless, it's just like, man, I noticed. And I think Brad ended up getting married to someone. I don't know. But Brad ended up wasting all her years of college and all like another 5-6 years, wasted all that time. I think she ended up marrying her friend. I don't remember. Nonetheless, she wasted all that time at college pursuing somebody she didn't want. That stuff I never understood. I didn't waste my time. Once she said no, I said, all right, cool. And I start moving on. And living my life to the fullest. It did take some time. I was one of those persistent men who wouldn't let things go. And, it's one of those things where you're like, I was in the same thing. The faith of, I believe God wants me to be with you. And I believe I'm supposed to pursue you and blah, blah, blah. And I know it wasn't true. She smelled like spaghetti. I don't think God wanted me to be with somebody who smelled like 3-day-old spaghetti or my grandma's mamiche. So, nonetheless, we never got together. And to this day, every time I take a sniff of spaghetti, I think about Brad. And what could have been. Probably a complete disaster. Because it's not like she was a cool person, but it's not like she was like, I wouldn't say, it's like she was a nerd, right? And we were all nerds. But she was a nerd to the point where it's like, okay, it's a little overkill. You got to be able to have a regular ass conversation. Like I said, she didn't look down on me or anything, but it's like her conversation, you couldn't get too deep. She's one of those nerds where if you just try to have just a small adult conversation, like, So, I wouldn't say like, you would say like, does my size matter? The size of my private part? I wouldn't say like a conversation like that. But just a conversation of kind of like, what do you want in a man? Something like that. And they give you the typical, well, I have my list. I want him to, just goofy kid shit. It's just like stuff that you're like, is that really realistic though? Are you really talking about it? I'm not just talking about being 6 feet tall and all that. It's all these other qualities. He has to love God. He has to love God, right? He has to provide, right? And it's like, if he loves God and he's going to provide, but yet you're in here in college getting a degree that you're not even going to use, aren't you just hurting your family? You're literally stacking up debt, because this is a private school I went to. Private college, so this is expensive. You're racking up all this debt just to go find a man who's going to provide everything anyway. And you're not going to pursue certain men because you got this degree that's useless, because we can all agree it's useless. You're getting it for no reason at all, but to find a man who's going to take care and provide for the whole family. And not only are you doing that, you're racking up debt, and you're not going to give the average guy a chance. When I say average, I mean a guy who isn't making that much money yet, right? Even with his first degree out, he could be making 60, 70 grand, right? But you look down on a guy who's going to come out of there with a business degree and maybe, 30, 40 a year to start out, compared to the engineers that are going to be making maybe 60, 70. And some of them really don't even start that high. You have to be a great engineer to get a good job like that. So you're going to get this degree to find a man who's going to provide everything, and now your degree, now you're just not going to do nothing with it. But you look down on certain men because it was wild. It was a whole wild fiasco. And like I said, she ended up wasting all that time going after something she was never going to get because she believed that God wanted them to be together, but it never worked out. It never worked out. But to be fair to her, I did the same thing. I would do the same thing with other women and be like, I think God wants us to be together. I remember one specific moment, and I'm actually going to tell the story of this girl in the next video. But this girl, we're gonna call her. Maybe hopefully I can remember this name. You know what? Not gonna give her a name. I know this girl. I remember sitting out in the hallway of my biology lab, and I was holding her hands, and I told her to her face, "God, you know what? I look her, and I'm gonna try to put y'all into the situation. We're standing in the hallway. I'm holding her hands. I'm like, listen, I think God really wants us to be together." Before this happened, actually, the lights went off. No reason why. We were in the biology lab, but the reason we ended up in the hallway is because the lights went off. And so I'm holding her hand. I'm like, I really, truly believe that God wants us to be together. And I think you just have to believe that. And just give me a shot. All right? And I said, I love you. I said, I love you. And I said, I love you. And then the lights click on. I was like, this is a sign from God. You see, as soon as I said, I love you, the lights clicked on. She went with somebody else, married someone else. No, I don't think she got married yet. I don't know. Some of these college people, I don't know what happened to them after this. I probably haven't heard or seen them in 5 years, 5 or 6 years now. So maybe she got married, but I remember she went with this guy. She went with the tall basketball guy, like I said. And I lost her. So the whole thing, I'm going to shut up after this. The whole thing of God wants you to be with somebody and just this faith manipulation that you use on people, don't believe it, bull. Don't let people do that to you. Don't let people use God like even I did. I would do with some women. Women did it with other men. Some women did it with me. And very few, though. Very few. Very few women said that they would be with me. That's the story for another time. Because there's only 3 girls that ever really said that to me. Like they said, God wants us to be together. The last, 4. I guess the last one would be my wife. But the other 3 said the same thing to me. But I didn't believe it either. They were just trying to use it to get it out of me. Because y'all heard the story. You know what? I'm done. I got so many damn stories. I'm out of here. Okay? Catch y'all on the next one. And if you meet a girl who smells like spaghetti, hey, leave it down in the comments. Let me know if you ever dated a girl who smelled like a food item. But it wasn't nasty. Maybe when she sweated, yes. But when she didn't sweat, it was like a food. But it was like... Because spaghetti can smell nice, guys. It's just weird to smell it on a person. Anyway, I'm out of here. Catch you guys on the next one.